Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends. Thanks for stopping by. So in this short video, we're going to have a look at the Tamiya DYNATECH 01R. Right, so I'm looking at putting this in a new restoration I'm doing. So I thought it'd be a good time because I've not actually opened this up. I only messed with the timing when I got it, and I wasn't that impressed with it. It's only a 19 turn, and it's about 22,000 RPM, but I expected a little bit more. It's hardly any quicker than the Technigold, and I thought it should be a little bit quicker than it is. Anyway, let's get into it and get it stripped. So the first job we're going to do, we'll just strip it very quickly, and then we'll give it a clean up, and then we'll take us time building it back together so I can show you how it all goes. But the first step for stripping is taking out these two screws that actually hold the springs in. This is a slightly different design from what I would call a standard brush motor. All three of Tamiya's sort of super collectible vintage motors, being a Technigold, 01R and then the 02H, they're all different designs, which is a little bit odd, but I suppose, you know, technology was just growing back then. Right, dead simple. So two screws, springs come off, and then the brushes, if you just flick it slightly, you'll see that the brush just comes out, and just very gently just pull it out and it just unclips. Being obviously very gentle with it, making sure not to break anything. So that's the brushes off. That comb doesn't look to be in bad condition. Next stage is the two screws on this, on here. So I'll just use a bigger screwdriver to slacken them in case they're tight. That's not too bad. And then again, finger and thumb holding it all together, wrong screwdriver. And then these bolts go all the way through to the end bell. And then just pull it out gently. Same with this one. And that is all the components. And then we just have to remove the end bell. Obviously this got, this is a tunable, timeable motor. So it's important that, well, we'll talk about that when we put it back together. So the end belt just comes off, and we'll just push on the comb gently, take the rotor out, and that's it. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to give it a quick clean up. That comb's in great nick actually. That's, I hope that's, you can see that on there. And the brushes, they're in good nick as well. So I did think it might be a little bit sort of gunked up, which might be hindering its performance, but we'll clean the comb up, and then on the can itself, if you just put your finger through and then just push gently, and then the end piece of the can comes off with the bearing in. Now you can get into all areas a little bit better. Right, that's it cleaned up best I can with the stuff I've got. So the comb's in actually great nick, I must admit. Certainly doesn't need skimming. So I cleaned that, cleaned the three ridges out of the comb. Cleaned the inside of the can, which was hardly anything. Put a bit of oil in the bearings, and cleaned the end bell. And the brushes, I've just given them a once over really, but they were in good nick. Right, so the rebuilding process. So the first thing first is to put the end on. Now with this motor you can't really go wrong. It's got one on the can itself, on this end it's got a cutout here for this end, and it's got the timing marks on the other end. So there's not, you can't build it wrong. Well, I'm sure somebody could, but you'd be hard pushed to. So this, just line up that and then just give it a push, and that's it. You can hear it click into place, and that's that done. The rotor, very important that you don't miss these washers. So I have this large fibre washer which goes on the comm end. These can be very brittle, so be careful when you're pushing it down because it's a tight-ish fit. I've done it before when you just put your finger over and it just snaps it, and then you're in trouble. On the opposite end of a rotor, the small washer goes on, and make sure that's sat nicely. So that's the rotor done. Then the rotor goes into the can. Obviously, just put your thumb on the end so it doesn't shoot through. Don't want to be scratching. And again, that kind of self-levels with the magnets. Don't turn it when it's like that because you'll just scratch it. Right, so that's that bit. And then, as I said, turning your can round to the timing marks, which are going to be very difficult to see. It's hard enough in the flesh. And then your end bell. Now, your timing, at this end, it's got no mark on it. But at this end, it's got this line that runs down, this channel line. You can see it there. That's your timing gauge. So you line that up with the timing marks on the can itself, and then that just goes on. And obviously, if you can see that, I don't know if you can, that's how your timing's going to adjust. But we're going to go into that later. So the next process, holding it all together, is to use the 2 screws. And obviously the 2 screws go on these 2 larger cutouts. Obviously the 2 holes here and 2 holes at either end are just the mounting, and these are for your adjustments to hold your can on. Just be gentle with this bit because you can damage these motors if you don't take your time. It's quite difficult to sometimes locate the hole because you've got so much play in it at this end. Okay, we've got that one. Let's just tighten that up slightly and then slacken it back off. And then we'll do the opposite end. You've got to try, because you've got so much scope here, you've got to try imagine where it is at this end and then feed it through. There we go. So that's that one. I'll just nip it. It's not going to be tight, but we'll just nip it up so it's all together. Right, so that's basically that part of the motor assembled. Now the tricky bit, which is a little bit fidgety. So these brushes have a little ridge here, and they also have a ridge inside it for the spring to locate. It's really important that these go into the right places. So you've got these 2 like copper barrels on the end bell, and obviously this wraps around it. But as it wraps around it, this location thing has got to sit on the inside. So it's just, again, just be very gentle with it. Push it into there, and then it turns round and clips. Let's get that again. And that's pretty much it. You can hear it click into place. And then while that's in, we'll put the spring on. So this is probably the most fidgety bit. And obviously you've got to make sure that you get this the right way around. So that's your hole that the bolt's going to go in. So again, let me just get this the right way around. I think, yeah. So this is going to clip into the fidgety. So this end here has got to clip into this ridge on the brush. So that puts it into place. And then what you've got to do with finger and thumb is just push it so you get past the hole. And then you can put your bolt in. It is a little bit fidgety, I know, but... And then screw that down. And then release gently, and then if you can see the spring, you just do it with your thumb, and that's it, and it falls into place. So that's the spring into place and your brush located. I'm just going to nip that up a little bit tighter, obviously not too tight. So that's one in place. Let's do the other. So again, in, turn, push towards, and then you can, the brushes are really good for locating with a tiny little bit of pressure. And then looking at the top to get the spring the right way round is that way. So again, locating the brush spring into there, and then push. Doing this with my left hand, this should be fun. It's like using somebody else's hand when I use my left. Right, that goes into there. Again, we just nip that up. Oops. Not too tight. And then the springs on here, they kind of move in, but I know it's a little bit weird. You can't really feel the tension like you can on most sort of springs on brush motors. But anyway, that's that's the motor built. It's as simple as that. So what I'm going to do now, I'll just slacken off the 2 bolts again, not too much. Find the timing end, which is this end, and then obviously, I don't know if you can see that, it's really difficult in this light, but that's how the timing's adjusted. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go connect this to a manual speed controller. We'll put a battery on it, and that's the easiest way I set the timing without a dyno. So alright, let's get cracking with that bit. So once again, using my ultra sophisticated high-tech setup, manual speed controller, battery, that's all I need, because obviously I haven't got a dyno. So as I said, the timing screws are slackened only a little bit, so I've got some movement. Now I've just put the timing in the middle because I'm not really sure which way you move it is going to increase or decrease. One important thing to make you aware of, a lot of these, I'm going to say vintage brush motors, I don't know if it's applicable to all brush motors, but they're manufactured in such a way that they get the maximum efficiency in only one direction. Now this particular 01R has an arrow on the decal telling you the rotation of it. Now, let me get this right. So the rotation on these motors is when the pinion end of the motor is upright, the motors spin anti-clockwise, which ties up, sorry, wrong way around, anti-clockwise, which ties up with this arrow. So before you start, it's always good to figure out, if you're going to use a system like this, which is forward and reverse on here. So moving the speedo to the left rotates the motor in the right direction. Right, so what I'll do is I'll shut up now and we'll have a little play with the timing. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it increase and decrease. The idea is to get it to its sweet spot and then turn it off and then nip the screws up. So that's what we'll do now. Now remember, get a good grip of the motor when you're doing this. Don't just power it up because you're going to entangle your wires and probably damage your motor. Right, so here we go. That was an easy one because sometimes the timing degree markings are slightly out, and but on this one it was completely to the end and you were getting maximum RPM. I always like to nip these up a little bit tighter once it's in position, just to make sure that under load nothing's going to come apart, because that would be a little bit of a disaster. That seemed, obviously I played with the timing on this when I first got it, that seemed a little bit more responsive now. I don't know whether it's because I've cleaned it or whatever. So I'll just fire it up. And that, my friends, is that. It's as simple as that. So this is going in a new restoration I'm doing of a Terra Scorcher. So it'll be a good comparison from the last time we ran this motor to see if the little bit of maintenance has helped it. But anyway, we'll only know when we run it. So once again guys, thanks for watching, much appreciated. If you're new to this channel, if you could please consider liking and subscribing to support us, that would be much appreciated. And we're putting a couple of videos out every week. Happy seeing guys.